Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the SWUS. Continuing on with MLB Wednesday. As far as Tuesday night, looks like it's going to be a bad one. I mean, when I recorded the last video, I was like, Tigers came back and took the lead, and I was all fired up. Nope, they blew it and lost in the 10th inning. I had Red Sox team total over 3.5. They scored in the first inning, didn't score again the rest of the game, so that lost. Blue Jays are winning, so there's something. And I do have the Dodgers team total later, but as a whole, looks like it's going to be a rough Tuesday night for me. Sucks, but shake it off, move on to the next one. In this video, I'm doing Phillies Red Sox, but we'll go through every single game on the board on the live shows tomorrow. There are two. At 11:30 a.m. Eastern time, we'll go through the day games because it's Wednesday. We got some day games in Major League Baseball. And then we'll be live again at 4 p.m. Eastern time. We'll do WNBA, NBA Finals, and then the MLB night games. So 2 live shows tomorrow. If you're able to make it, would like to see in the comments. Phillies, BOS Sox. Let's go.
Welcome to the SWUS. The SWUS. SWUS. Hey, get the SWUS.
All right, like I said, we got Phillies on the road in Fenway for this one. Red Sox short home dogs here, plus 102. Total sitting at 8.5. Take a look at the pitching matchup. We got Christopher Sanchez pitching against Nick Pavetta. Both of these guys have been pitching pretty well, too. Let's look at the model. 2.08 to 2.39 Boston. Slight lean on the Red Sox in the first 5 innings, and a slight lean on the Red Sox in the full game as well. 3.90 to 4.08 Sox. So let's take a look at this matchup, and we'll start with the Phillies bats. I mean, numbers aren't crazy here. In the last 14 days, 16th in WRC+, 16th in OPS, 16th in WOBA. Maybe starting to heat up again. They're winning games, but they're winning games on the backs of their starting pitchers and their bullpen, and they've been playing great defense. The bats haven't been that elite recently. You can see against righties, pretty average. In the last 14 days against right-handed pitching, 18th, 18th, and 18th. Kind of the same story on the road. I mean, on the season, the Phillies have been a great lineup on the road, 7th, 5th, and 6th. But the last 30 days, 14th, 14th, and 13th. So again, Phillies offense not exactly setting the world on fire with these numbers. The last 5 righty starters to pitch against the Phillies, check this out. 2.95 ERA and a 1.31 WHIP. So righty starters haven't had problems throwing good games against the Phillies, and we just saw it again tonight. I'll pull it up right now. Phillies. Cutter Crawford, 6 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs. He had a couple unearned runs in there, but he was able to pitch pretty well. So the Phillies aren't really getting to righty starters like that. So how do they match up against Nick Pavetta? Well, we got Nick Pavetta pitching against his old team. He was with the Phillies from 2017 to 2020. As you can see, his tenure with Boston, much more successful than his tenure with Philly. ERA down a whole run and some change. WHIP is better, expected FIP slightly better. OBA is better. And Pavetta's been pitching well. And on the season, he's got a 3.40 ERA and an 0.94 WHIP. So he's having a great year. His last 2 starts specifically, 1.46 ERA and an 0.65 WHIP. So Pavetta's been dealing. What makes it even more impressive, both of those starts were at home in Fenway. And if you've been betting on Red Sox baseball and Nick Pavetta the last few years, you know that's huge because Pavetta always seems to struggle in Fenway. So the fact that his last 2 starts were home in Boston and he pitched well, definitely a good sign if you're a Red Sox fan. Here are his game logs here. 7 shutout innings against the Braves at home. Pitched a great game against the Tigers at home. Before that, he did get hit up by Milwaukee. The Brewers have been crushing right-handed pitching this year, though. Before that, 6 innings, 1 run against the Cardinals. Great game against the Rays. He also had a great game against Oakland all the way at the bottom. He struggled on the road in Atlanta. So as a whole, Pavetta's been pitching well. Now, it's definitely a bad sign that he relies on the fastball so much. 48% of his pitches this year have been four-seam fastballs. The Phillies have crushed fastballs this year. They're second in Major League Baseball in runs added average against the four-seam fastball. That being said, his other main 2 pitches, slider and curveball, Phillies have struggled with those 2 pitches, 22nd and 25th in the last 30 days. So as a whole, look, the Phillies are winning games, but it's not exactly the lineup that's doing it. Like I said, it's the defense, it's the pitching, it's the bullpen. So I think Pavetta can pitch well here. The last few righty starters that pitched against the Phillies have been able to throw a good game. I think Pavetta can also. On the other side, we got Christopher Sanchez pitching against the Red Sox. You can see Boston's got some decent offensive numbers here recently. In the last 30 days, 13th in WRC+, 8th in OPS, 11th in WOBA. Last 14 days, last 7 days, both look solid as well. As far as their numbers against left-handed pitching, I mean, in the last 30 days, 20th, 17th, and 17th. So not exactly setting the world on fire against lefties. Definitely been doing more damage against righties. They have started to hit at home recently, which is huge because Boston's been a terrible home team this year. So it's definitely a good sign that in the last 14 days, the Red Sox have some nice offensive numbers at home in Fenway. But we just saw them get held to 1 run. Now with Zach Wheeler, we can cut him a little bit of slack, but we just saw him really struggle to score tonight, just a couple hours ago at home. If you look at the numbers from recent lefty starters against the Red Sox, no question they've had no problems pitching against this team. So the Red Sox have some decent hitting numbers against lefties, but a lot of that's coming against bullpens because the last 3 lefty starters to pitch against Boston, 150 ERA and an 0.94 whip. Now here's the thing. When we pull up the game logs, look at the lefties that they've seen. You might cut Boston a little bit of slack here. Garrett Crochet's been dealing. Max Fried's been dealing. Cole Irvin's having a great year. Liberator, that was out of the bullpen, so that shouldn't be on this list. Mackenzie Gore, having a really good year. Patrick Corbin, I mean, they had 8 base runners in 5 innings, so they did get to Corbin. They just didn't really get any runs across. And then Chris Sale. So, I mean, this is 7 lefties here on this list. 4 of these lefties are like 4 of the best left-handed starters in baseball this year. So maybe we cut the Red Sox a little bit of slack as far as their numbers against recent lefty starters. That being said, when we pull up Christopher Sanchez's numbers, he's having a great year himself. On the season, 2.71 ERA, 1.34 whip. In his last 3 starts, a 1.04 ERA and a 1.04 whip. Sanchez has definitely been dealing. He's having a great season on the road, but specifically as of late. In his last 3 road starts, 2.12 ERA and a 1.35 whip. So Christopher Sanchez getting it done on the road. Here's an interesting one here. Righty-lefty splits for Christopher Sanchez because he definitely struggles against right-handed bats. You can see he's absolutely dominant against lefties. Against righties, 3.18 WOBA, 149 whip. Righty bats are able to give Christopher Sanchez problems. Here's why this is weird. If you look at the projected Red Sox lineup on the right side, you'll see 6 righties in it. But the Red Sox are a lefty-heavy lineup. They're just loading it up. They load it up with righties against lefty pitchers. So a lot of these names on here are righties, but they're not exactly the bottom half of that order. Those aren't exactly the most dangerous righties. So yeah, he's pitching against a lot of right-handed bats, which should concern you, but the names at the bottom of this list shouldn't scare you. So take it or leave it. As far as his pitch mix, though, this would worry me. Boston's been hitting the sinker, they've been hitting the changeup, they've been hitting the slider. Those are Christopher Sanchez's 3 pitches. That's all he throws. So as a whole, there are definitely angles here for Boston's bats to get to Christopher Sanchez, but they've seen a lot of these good lefty starters, and they haven't gotten to him recently. Christopher Sanchez, maybe not on the level of Chris Sale and Crochet and some of those guys, but he's pitching at that level recently. So Chris Sale, if Christopher Sanchez comes in and throws like he has been pitching on the road, I don't think Boston's going to get to him. When we look at the bullpen matchup, I mean, no question the edge goes to the Phillies. As I've said a number of times in the last couple of weeks, the Phillies bullpen is probably the best in baseball right now. Last 30 days, first in ERA, second in WOBA, first in expected FIP. Not that the Red Sox bullpen has been absolutely terrible. In fact, on the season, they're a top 10 bullpen, but as of late, they've struggled a little bit. But if you look at offensively, the Red Sox have done a much better job getting to opponent bullpens. The Phillies haven't been that active in the late innings offensively, which evens out that matchup a little bit. And one thing we need to mention here, if we're talking about the Phillies bullpen, here's the usage. Alvarado and Strahm just pitched tonight, so it's not shown on this graphic, but Alvarado's now thrown 2 of the last 3. He threw 20 pitches again, too, so 55 pitches 2 of the last 3 nights. And Strahm, he pitched again. So 2 of their main arms, their 2 main lefty arms, too, 2 of the last 3 nights. I would imagine they'll be available, but the Phillies bullpen definitely a little taxed. As far as my bet in this game, I already bet this one. I took the under. I think both of these lineups are overvalued. I like both of these starting pitchers. I also thought about taking the first 5 under, but decided to stick to the full game. Like I said, I think I'm fading both of these lineups. I really don't feel comfortable fading the Phillies. I thought about taking him at the -120. I know the whole world's going to take him at that price, and I don't hate that, but feel more comfortable on the under at 8.5. Like I said, 2 overrated lineups, so give me the under. Like I said earlier, the live shows are at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time and 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. If you're able to make it, we'd love to see you in the comments. If you want my top bets or top bets from anyone on the staff here, head over to KyleKirms.com and sign up for Sauce Network Plus. Comes with the top bets, access to the Discord, and you can participate in our weekly betting league. Winner gets $100 and a trophy every single week. It's actually just started. It's our first week, so it's off to a fun start. If you're interested in that, head over to the website and sign up. Hopefully, by the time you're watching this, I grabbed a couple W's for Tuesday night because I'm off to a rough start. Let's have ourselves a great Wednesday. Remember to bet responsibly, and I'll talk to you in the Discord.